My name is Chet Zaborowski. I was a Sergeant E5 in the United States Army Special Forces. I carried an AR-15, which is a shortened barrel, shortened stock version of an M16, because in the jungles of Cambodia and Laos, you needed a much shorter weapon, but with a high rate of fire, and that was the AR-15s. I started out also carrying a sidearm that I got from a pilot, a .357 Magnum with 6 rounds in it. But after 2 missions, I decided, why would I carry this thing with me when, it's heavy, it only has 6 rounds, when I can take that and have maybe 2 or 3 more magazines of 60 to 90 rounds of ammunition for my Car 15. So I did that. I only carried the .357 for like 2 missions. And then I got rid of that and I started carrying more ammunition with that. I used to carry anywhere from between 600 and 900 rounds of ammunition. Anywhere from 75 to 125 pounds of equipment.
So
we did have to weigh ourselves because the Huey helicopters that we had could only lift so much weight. So we had to know basically, if there's going to be 8 people in the helicopter, how much do they have? Well, if it's 100 pounds each plus their own weight, you figure 8 times 100, that's 800 pounds of equipment, plus, each American is 200 pounds, well, let's say I was 150 pounds. You add up that, you get a total weight, how much the ship can take. If it's overloaded, one person goes off, goes on another ship. And that happened every time. You knew exactly how much you had, and it was anywhere from 75 pounds to 125 pounds of weight. Because you carried everything that you needed: food, ammunition, medical supplies, clothing, maps. We carried demolition charges with us. We carried mortar rounds with us on some of the large operations, and all of that stuff is weight. Plus water, plenty of water. You carried what you could. If it wasn't necessary, you didn't carry it. If it was necessary, you made room somewhere, somehow, for this to carry. Gas mask, we carried gas masks with us. We carried a small survival radio on some certain operations that was, about that big. But you found the spot for it because it was necessary. If that meant that you went without something else, you went without something else. But you had to make those decisions. Different combat missions that I went on. I was shot down in a helicopter January 13th, 2 days before my birthday. It was in a CH-54, what they call a Chinook. And it's a twin rotor helicopter. And a team of South Vietnamese were in a dire situation where they were getting a lot of casualties. And the CH-54, which is a large lift helicopter capable of carrying, I think, like 60 soldiers, was ordered in. I was the chase medic on that flight. We flew in, touched down, loaded up as many people as we could, and then as we were lifting off, the enemy hit our rear engine transmission housing with a B-40 rocket and damaged it to the point where as we lifted off, we couldn't maintain lift, so we came down. Probably about maybe 25 to 50 yards outside of our perimeter. So then it's like, okay, everybody get off the helicopter before it catches fire and blows up. Get back to the inside perimeter again, call in more gunships and more helicopters to take out the wounded people. It happened real quick. I had no idea what was going on. I just know that I was picking people in, bringing them on the ship as soon as I could, and as we were taking off, and the next thing I know, I'm down on the ground, tumbling up towards the front of the helicopter. It happened real quick. I never had a chance to triage those that were coming in. Many of them were wounded in varying degrees. The most serious wounded, they came on first. They were up towards the front of the helicopter. The least wounded were coming in later, and we probably had maybe 15 to 20 soldiers that were on that helicopter when it got hit, but I never had an opportunity to triage to say, okay, well, okay, this guy has this kind of wound, this guy has this kind of wound, this guy has this kind of wound. Never had a chance to tag him or do anything else. So as we got off the helicopter, again, those who were wounded that could still fight had to fight their way back to the perimeter. I have pictures of another helicopter that I was in that I should have been seriously wounded in. It had so many bullet holes in it. And it was one of these things of doing the right thing at the right time, that I avoided where these bullets hit. As a medic, you're in a helicopter, you're going out to pick up people on a medcat mission or something or other, and you're coming into a landing zone and the enemy's shooting at you. Do you sit there in the middle of the helicopter, which is where I was supposed to be, or do you help your brothers, these door gunners and stuff, fire at the enemy? That's what I did. That happened on one occasion where we were coming in, picking up some wounded people. The helicopter, it was a hot LZ landing, or a hot landing zone. The enemy was firing us, and you could hear the rounds hitting the helicopter. And instead of sitting in the middle of the helicopter on top of these extraction ladders, which is where my spot was, I got off the ladders and I got out the port side of the helicopter and I started shooting at the enemy. Touchdown, we picked up 2 wounded people, got back in the helicopter, flew off the base camp. When we landed, I took the 2 wounded soldiers into the compound dispensary that was there, treated them for their wounds and everything else, and when he came back, I saw the pilot is going around the ship, he's looking at all the bullet holes, and he said, "Hey, Ski, come here, look at this." There's these 2 big ladders. They're metal ladders that roll up. Okay, they call them extraction ladders. He pulled one of them back. Now this is the one that I was sitting on. He pulled one of them back, and here's a huge bullet hole right through the bottom of the ship, all the way up through the top of the ship.
Wow.
Now, if I was still sitting on that ladder, guess what? I have a very serious wound, probably one that could have been fatal. Why wasn't I there? I was outside the ship firing at the enemy. Very, very fortunate for me.